Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tavern Talk at the Golden Feather. We are Virtek and Chibi, keepers of this fine establishment. And the Golden Feather is open to all travelers to come and share their thoughts on the inner workings of Vera over a nice tankard of ale, mead, hot chocolate, or any other delicious beverage of choice. So, raise your glass, pull up a chair as we delve into tonight's discussion.
Hello.
Today is the 14th of February 2024. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And we are in episode 006, and the intended topics for tonight are things like appearances on other shows, Intrepid news, and your topics. I know that was a quick summary, but do you have any further info on what we have on tap today?
I like that. Just like bulldoze right through it and then be like, oh, wait, let's rewind that real quick.
Yeah, let's rewind it real quick.
So tonight's topics will include us talking about our appearances on some other shows, just in case you guys may not have been aware. Additionally, we're going to kind of delve into some updates from Intrepid. And finally, we're going to talk about some variety of topics from the forums. And thank you so much, Mandy Cakes, for 2 months of sub. Appreciate you.
Ooh,
wow.
Thank you much.
Cheers to that. What is in your goblet?
An old-fashioned.
I have an apple ginger auction.
A goblet full of old-fashioned. Tell me that's not amazing.
Yes. Fun fact, I know it as the 1, 2, 3 drink.
Yep, one of the reasons I like old-fashioned is because I like cherries.
2/3 bourbon, 3 cherries, so 1, 2, 3.
1 part mixer, 2 parts whiskey, 3 cherries, because I like cherries, so extra cherry.
So why not go with like a red and white theme for Valentine's Day? Yep. First off, though, I wanted to sit and chat real quick about some changes that we're going to try to make to this. And I kind of hinted at this already for the subscribers. So those of you that are subs, if you do not know, we have a subscriber-only area. And I asked, would you like to have the ability to submit topics for us to talk about each Wednesday? And predominantly, there's a yes. So we are going to set that up where we will ask you each, so like if I ask you tonight, what topics would you like us to cover? That will be for next Wednesday night. And that way we have time to like look into it and kind of formulate an opinion, probably independently of each other as we like to do, and then talk about it.
Yeah.
Nair asks, do you actually celebrate Valentine's Day?
We do. But typically not on Valentine's Day because it always seems to land on a weekday. So we go for, the nearest weekend.
Or I actually, having spent my time in the waitressing industry, in the food industry, I actually prefer celebrating it on a whole other night anyway. Because the pricing is usually really high on Valentine's Day because there's a lot of couples going out, and then also it's very booked, very hard to get anything. And I don't want to be rushed. I don't want to feel like I have to do crazy stuff, you know. Oh, that was yesterday's guest, but still check him out.
Hey bot, what are you doing?
The bot thinks it's Tuesday. That's what it's Wing Wednesday.
There's always at least one thing that's forgotten every time.
I promise I can make you a to-do list so that way we can go through it before we go live. I need to sit down and do that better for myself anyway. Pre-flight
checklist on every single set of our show notes.
Exactly.
Full rundown of everything we need to do.
Yes, lists are amazing. I was telling somebody the number of sticky notes around me is crazy.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, but
Nair. You would.
So are tuples. Yes, tuples are also good. I like tuples.
Tuppleware?
Coding joke. Tuppleware. Coding joke. But yes, So aside from that, I will probably have more to chit chat about probably next Friday, because we're doing our 5-year anniversary stream next Friday.
We are. There's so much work to do for that.
There is, but that's okay. A lot of it will be hanging out with you guys and chit-chatting with you guys and maybe playing some casual games that we can still play while we chat. So things like maybe marbles or things like that. I don't know. Still looking into those stuff. But oh, thank you. They're purpley, pink colored. I'm gonna be honest, my hair dyed some of them, so that's okay.
Your hair dyed things?
Yes, my hair dyed things. If you can't tell, you'll see it a little better next week. I have to keep it up so it doesn't get too dirty. To wait as long as I can before I can wash my hair. I'll put a picture in Discord for you guys as well, so you can see. But I'm very excited for it. Yes, happy Valentine's Day. We're happy to be here with you guys. I did want to try and do a boys versus girls thing, but I couldn't find enough people quickly enough for that. And to be honest, it's been kind of nonstop since we started.
Yeah.
So next week will be a welcome week of 2 days off of work.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Monday and Thursday.
Yes.
Monday and Thursday. Thursday is going to be a whole day off altogether because we aren't doing anything.
It will be.
For a show either.
Nope. No show.
Lots of napping and movie.
Yeah, it's going to be perfect. Well,
Hey, let me live in my imagination.
I will let you live in your imagination because you don't know what I have planned for you. But
this one's devious.
On that note, you were recently on the discussion round.
Yes.
And you guys were talking about PvP and Caravan and risk versus reward, I think.
Yeah, the main topic was PvP. Caravans, attacker versus defender, risk versus reward. I believe the entire title was something very similar to that. And it was a 3v3. There were 3 attackers and 3 defenders trying to argue our cases. There was a yokai as mediator, and there was a nice kind of hanging out in the background being a creeper. I mean, spectator. He would just chime in every once in a while, and he offered some people the benefit of him reading anything out loud if they subscribed to Yokai's channel for the discussion round.
That's funny. I love that.
And so they made Nice, of all people, say that he wants a PvE server.
Oh no!
So that's fully open for clipping.
Oh boy. Poor Nice. I feel so bad. Oh man. But yeah, definitely go check that out. That sounds like a lot of fun. I was actually asked to join as well, but I didn't have as strong of an opinion on the subject matter, in my opinion. So I was like, definitely check out Virtek. Virtek has more of an opinion than I did.
Definitely have more of an opinion on that, as far as being solid in my stance, I suppose. It was a good conversation, though. Everyone made some really good points. They brought up some really good angles on stuff. I won't say that they changed my mind on stuff, but they did give me a little bit more understanding of the entire scenario. And kind of got a little bit more scope out, and even brought up another point that maybe the real issue is going to be incentivizing defenders. Not like the people who started running the Caravan, but random people to defend the Caravan.
Oh, yeah.
Because at least, like, details that they've spoken about anyway don't say anything about how they're going to reward people that choose to randomly defend a Caravan. And hey, welcome in, Nuki. And thank you for the like.
Yeah.
So if they don't get a portion...
Avatar peeking anywhere.
Wait, what?
On setup? I don't know. I just didn't see it. Maybe it happened and I didn't catch it.
Oh, it's possible. I might need to look into that. It may have broken.
Sorry, derailing conversations one clip at a time.
One clip at a time. But But yeah, it might, just because, I mean, attackers are going to be attacking, right? They'd be doing attacker stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the highwayman system for both sides to attract people, it's got to be like really rewarding. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's kind of why I put the addendum there of for the information that we've been shown or the information they've announced so far, because we have no idea what the highwayman system is really going to be comprised of and exactly how it's going to function and stuff like that. So I mean, my mind's open. It's ready to receive information and see how it works.
I could see it like Nair saying though to be helpful for the randoms though, for like having no reason, like if you have a private reason with your guild to like want to move it, but then like a random person, like let's say you and I were just doing something already, we're just like going down the street, and then suddenly there's this caravan where like we defend it, do we attack it? So then, you know, the highwayman might like help with that, the system. Yeah.
I mean,
you do me a favor, I'll help you later with yours. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Nair, there's that's actually a conversation after the fact. Excuse me, had a hiccup there. But yesterday, we dropped off people over at Nice and No One Else for their Voices of Era, and that conversation was pretty lively. And that's actually one of the things they kind of brought up is, you know, it's gonna be caravans and it's gonna be a bunch of people doing people favors, but I mean, in the end, everyone wants to get paid, right?
Yeah, and that's actually why I like Galwood's idea. If you saw that.
Let's see. Did like the idea of letting caravan owners put up a gold bounty for random defenders that would help with distributing gold afterwards too, so they don't have to play or trade everyone and try to keep. Yeah, but that kind of goes towards the thought that I had where, like, let's say we go full tilt, right? It's 20 times profit if you can take a caravan and deliver it, right? 20 times profit. Let's just assume that's it. You put in 1 gold worth of stuff, you get 20 gold at the other end. If you need 20 people to defend your caravan, you have just lost money. If you're trying to split stuff evenly. If you're not trying to split stuff evenly, let's say that they take up 10 times out of that 10x. So now you're stuck at 10x. Now, that could be alright. But that's if they accept that much, because they know what the profit's going to look like, right? And then if there's other random defenders also, you're going to be losing even more and even more. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm open for seeing how it goes, but I foresee the fact that there's no instancing of anything, really. So people are going to be randomly looking for stuff to do. There's no corruption on Caravan PvP, but there is on open world PvP. You're going to get people who are trying to raid and find combat that are going to get bored as a group. They want to do combat, so they're going to hunt down caravans to sack. And they're not going to get corruption, so there's going to be the random people that are all about that ganking life, who aren't going to be able to go out and gank people because it has corruption attached to it. So now there's caravans, which is free ganking if they just get a bunch of friends together.
Right.
I think it's going to cause some issues.
As long as it's an optional and could be displayed pretty easily on the join attack ignore caravan UI. Nair says, I think it's going to end up as solo or very small guild people never running caravans unless they just don't mind the risk. I could see that. Yeah.
And I do like your idea, Galwood, by the way. The being able to put up money. Without actually seeing it, I don't think we'll be able to really see if it will be effective. I foresee problems, but you know, like anything, it's all in development. There's still, I mean, they haven't even revealed the entire system to us, let alone how it's balanced. So
yeah,
we'll just use.
It definitely relies on. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just reading the same thing you were there. Go ahead. You go.
you go ahead.
So yeah, go. It says it definitely relies on potential economic incentive. We'll just use mules instead. Yeah, and that's a theory I had from day one. Is, you know, what's to prevent people from just gathering all the stuff and running across like as a guild? Just we're gonna have a gallop session from this node to the other one, and everybody grab you know, X amount of money, and we just run it over. Not money, but materials.
Fair. Nair says we have to keep in mind the node community too. I think the intent from Intrepid is to build a community that works together and helps each other. And I agree with that, because at the end of the day, like, while we are out here talking in our own guilds or whatever, like, at the end of the day, playing in game is going to be very different than sitting in your own Discord. Oh. And you never know who you're going to keep seeing crossing your path out in the open world.
Fair enough, fair enough. But my question to you, Nair, is if you had a neighbor, right? You had a neighbor and your neighbor's like, hey, can you help me push my truck to the auto shop because it broke down? Well, why can't you call it tow truck? I just can't, man. I just can't. I don't have money, so I can't really pay for it. Nor can I pay you. I just need to get it to the auto shop. No, it's a guy with the worst and hairiest plumber's crack you've ever seen in your life.
Oh my lord. Why?
And he's married. So even if you did get excited by that, he's not available. But like, you might be nice and be like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. And this is an in real life neighbor that you kind of have to get along with, right? Or else your entire life at that house is going to be hell. But what if they asked you once a week, hey, can you help me again? Hey, can you help me again? Hey, can you help me again? By the fourth time, you're going to be like, yo, it takes me an hour to do that. Can you give me like $20 or buy me a pizza or something? A case of beer? No, nothing? People are going to get paid to help out. Like, goodwill will go a certain amount of way, but there's got to be an actual reward or people just aren't going to do it.
Yeah, and Vlhadus says the role of node social influence is definitely an open question.
Yeah. Fair enough.
If I got the help back in a different way, no problem, but sure. Not if it's one-sided. Exactly. Yeah. You'd have to make sure that there's going to be some sort of return there. I mean, probably at one point or another, you're going to do it just to be nice. But not like expect anything in return. But I mean, I feel like if they do return the favor, then you just kind of mark that down. Like, okay, cool. They return the favor. I'm more likely to help them the next time I see them. But sometimes if it's like, I don't know, you're getting ganked and I know that you're not, like, if I know the other person's definitely a known ganker, I'd probably help assist that, just because the one poor person being ganked is just not very fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, who knows? It might create a friendship there. But the next podcast that we were a part of was the LoreForged podcast. And this one just went up 2 days ago. Would have shared it if I had known immediately, but I found it because I was like, all right, that's supposed to go live at some point this week. So I looked it up and there it was. We have a bit of an interview there. And then we end up talking about what they call the Mount Rushmore of NPCs. Now, I had to like figure this out with the context clues on the fly. I'm going to be honest. But they were essentially saying, like, what is one of the biggest NPCs that you think is really good, and how would you how would it relate to Ashes, kind of. So the LoreForged podcast with you guys was so great. Thank you,
Raka. Yeah, we had fun. I had a whole lot of fun for sure.
Oh yeah,
these guys are
absolutely
great. They come up with some great questions. I do have to say, the Mount Rushmore thing that you were just talking about took me 100% by surprise, because for reasons we'll leave unstated, we didn't really study the questions or anything like that, so it was kind of we showed up and then we saw the questions. And I just saw a Mount Rushmore of NPCs, and I was like, okay, cool, they're going to talk about a Mount Rushmore theoretical thing or whatever. All right, cool. And they're like, what would your Mount Rushmore be? Who would? Oh man, and my brain just popped, and I said, I don't know. Hey Turgo, welcome on in.
Welcome in.
Hey, last stream in the Skull and Bones. How are you digging it? I know you were full tilted to finding some locations the other day.
He's also, he's backed by Ubisoft. He's got the Ubisoft partnership thingy going.
Turgo's a newbie boy.
Awesome. Loving the game. It's going.
Tavern Talks is fun. Tavern Talks is chill. We just hanging out today. A little no pressure show.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we're hoping for, honestly. At the end of the day, it's just be able to sit here with a drink of yumminess. Just like give you +1, +2 to charisma. I don't know.
I think it does.
Yeah. But the Mount Rushmore thing, I was honestly really excited. +2 to Riz.
There.
Thanks.
Unlike Tuesdays, which were a grindy slog. It's so difficult.
But yeah, I don't know. I just I think I figured out what they were talking about, and I just ran with it.
He's got boba.
Nice.
Oh man. I know what we have to do after this now.
What?
We have to find a boba place that's going to be open after 8 o'clock p.m.
I wish you luck.
Probably none. Probably none.
We could always go back to that wing place. It is Valentine's Day. And it is Wednesday. They might have unlimited wings again.
You're trying to get chocolate wings for Valentine's Day?
No, ew, that sounds disgusting.
It does kind of, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I chose Sylvanas, pre-chieftain as my Mount Rushmore NPC, just because I loved her. Ignoring that, I loved her storyline and you know how hated she was, even though she was trying to do what was right in her eyes, and she just couldn't win. And I liked it. You know, I thought that was really cool, and I'm looking anywhere else but there. So yeah.
I think I know one of them that I named was the little girl, and I was trying to remember if she actually had a direct connection to Elizabeth from one of the other now I'm even blanking on the name of the game. BioShock. One of the other BioShocks, just because of the way that the time of the storyline went. Oh, I was trying to remember if she had a connection, but yeah, the little girl from the original BioShock was definitely an impactful NPC, because that was... You alright?
Yeah.
Don't die.
I'm not dying.
Yeah, it was a very impactful NPC as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Hello, Hidden Dagger in, aka IP on you.
Welcome in. Mythic Sylvanas is my favorite and last wild boss. I felt I beat the game after that. Fair. Sweet Sugar does go with... Okay. I don't know. It's just making me uncomfortable. I don't like the idea. I don't like the pairing. However, yeah, I think BioShock has some interesting stuff. I didn't really play the series. I know of the series. I know a little bit about the series, but I never really played BioShock. I don't even know what console that came out on, to be honest.
Yeah, I've only played it on PC, but I know it was one of the first games that really got me like really into the game.
Yeah.
And that little girl was part of it. She had a way to play on your emotions, and then just play it on your emotions. I'll leave it at that. So someday maybe you can play the remastered version and experience it without spoilage.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be very busy with Ashes.
This is fair. This is fair.
But Nair, I see what you're saying. Those are fine. It was specifically the chocolate and the chicken just sounds gross, really gross to me. But
chocolate chicken?
The final thing I wanted to share was Ashes of Relation has their Bespoke series, which just ended on the 28th of January, which was about 2.5 weeks ago. Yeah, 2.5 weeks ago. And Virtek was on season 1, and I'm gonna be on season 2. I'm very excited for that. Hidden Dagger says, hoping AOC will be my last game. I'm too old for these 10-year developments. I feel that, honestly.
I'm just too
That's where I
tired
try to
of them.
focus. Fair, there's that too. I just try to focus my efforts on like single player games that I can play with you, like on unlimited, like Overwatch, things like that. Things that I'm not intending to play forever, but I want to get through real quickly and then be like, that was a fun game. Next. But
yeah, just something we can hop into really quick and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
In the few moments we have free here and there, just jump in, play a game, and get out.
Yeah, exactly. Gawitz says I'll plug into the Matrix when I'm 90. Imagine Ash is dying after 6 months because it all sounds good on paper, but they implement it wrong and refuse to fix it in A2. That would be an absolute nightmare, because I highly doubt that they will refuse to fix it.
I mean, I just gotta say,
honestly,
that would be, for me, that would be a repeat of what happened with SWTOR. Because I played SWTOR from like the alpha, beta phases all the way through till launch, and everybody was really psyched up about it. Like, I walked away from WoW for it, and like a bunch of my guild from WoW walked away from it, and everybody went their own separate ways. And before 6 months of actual launch hit, all of us had dipped right out and moved on to whatever else we could find.
That's terrifying. I mean, but that's the risk. That's the risk you take, honestly.
And it's basically because they removed all sense of like competition. There was no reason to do PvP. There was no reason to do PvE, except for just to do the content. And so people would do the content, and then it would be done. And that's it. There was no need to like try to keep doing better, because you could literally do dailies for a week and get the same gear as running into a raid and beating your head against it for a month.
Yeah. Gold says SWTOR was the best game that I never reached max level in. Hidden Dagger In says, I'm sure it won't be perfect, but Steven has a visionary, and it is a visionary, and I'm sure it has so many things he wants to implement. Lord of the Rings Online for me had a bit of that, but it was particularly also because I burned out during alpha. And Silverin says, it'll only die if Tolnar aren't number 1, and they don't rename Tank to Concussion Cushion.
Oh, lordy.
I knew he was gonna find a way to bring it up in here.
Yep. That's all right. He's just sad he's playing a pet class.
So moving over into Intrepid news, the office hours, by the way, have moved to, unfortunately, the 20th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So that means Virtek and I will not be able to take part of it versus being limited time to take part of it. So unfortunately, we're missing that one because we'll have our podcast next Tuesday.
Do we join as the podcast?
No. They don't want the stuff to be streamed. So I'll respect that and not do that as much as I'd love to do that.
Oh, has that actually come up before as a question?
No, it's more like saying, please don't record for yourselves. We're only recording so the devs can hear what people think. This is not meant to be streamed out or anything like that. And it's like, don't record without people's permission, essentially.
Yeah, every time I'm able to catch it, like I miss all the disclaimers at the beginning. I always end up coming in like 15-20 minutes into it. Yeah, see, it's unfortunate. I wish that we had like a recording to be able to listen to as a community, so I can be like, hey, I missed this, but like, what'd you guys talk about? What are your thoughts? But that's okay. But yeah, so just in case you didn't know, it got moved. Unfortunately, I didn't see the reason. I just saw that it was moved. Again, here's the topics that they're talking about. So general caravan system discussion, caravan attackers and defenders discussion, a caravan travel discussion, and the visuals discussion for the caravan. So that link has more in-depth information. We kind of went over it yesterday, so I don't want to take up too much time going over it again. But yeah, so I'm making a treasure map for my wife tonight for Valentine's. Aww. You think if I draw a picture of pants, she'll figure it out? Maybe, I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, the other one is the VDay Winners. Congratulations to the VDay Winners. Unfortunately, I was not one of them. But let me give you the actual one. That was my response one. But
yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
There's a lot of really good ones.
Yeah, by the time I got around to trying to submit, everything I thought of already had something that was really similar, and I didn't want to put just a variation on somebody else's thing, so
right.
I ended up not submitting anything.
Oh.
No.
That's okay. Our friend in our Discord won one, but her hubby had submitted it for her, so they thought that she was just a duplicate account.
Womp, womp, womp.
Working on fixing that. Hopefully they still get it. Fingers crossed on that part.
Yeah. Hopefully she still gets one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose though, because I wasn't really able to find anything unique, but that means that we have a very creative community, and they have a lot of the same humor that I enjoy.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. So there's the list in case you missed it. There's like about 10 winners. Cersei, one of the people we've had on our podcast, was a winner. So I congratulated her. And there's a lot of really good people. I'm very happy to see there's like this one adorable one about like you're the quest that I don't want to abandon. And I'm like, that's cute. I like that one.
I dig it.
I think one of mine says, Ruby is red, Halcyon is blue. I want to go raiding with you.
Yeah, there were a lot of roses
cheesy.
of red snippets.
Yeah, I was trying to not do roses are red and violets are blue. I was trying to like make it more ashes specific, trying to be a little more clever. But I'm not very clever when it comes to that stuff. Listen, my version of hitting on somebody is like, I don't even know. I'm not very good at hitting. I don't even remember how I hit on you, honestly, outside of saying, hey, I like you.
Can confirm. She speaks true. Literally
hitting them? No. I don't really hit people.
Precisely there.
I'm too scared of hurting people if I were to playfully hit them. I'm too scared. Like, even with him, I'll give him a massage, or I'll like try to like do that thing where like you're beating on their back to like break up the muscle tissue. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going too hard? Does that hurt?
Meanwhile, like, no, not at all. Use your elbows. You're tiny. You weigh 2 pounds.
I do. You weigh 2 pounds.
Spill the beans. No, I legitimately can't remember, because it was probably. I think it was literally just that. Hey, I kind of like you.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, we had spent enough time together in Discord constantly, and I was just like, hey, I kind of like you, like you. And I think you said that back to me. You're like, I like you too. I was like, do you want to be my boyfriend? Yeah, hot stones are nice.
I have not done that. No.
I like hot stones.
Sounds good though.
Yeah.
Everyone talking about it.
It's totally how one can win me over. Yeah. But yeah. Also, when we met, we told each other we weren't looking to date. So there's that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not looking for a relationship.
This one here likes the abuse for sure. Like about right in bed checks.
And here we are. Exactly. Here we are. Tavern owners. Yeah.
Oh, Lottie.
Yeah.
Oh,
see,
Lottie,
I am
Lottie.
romantic in other ways. I may not be a smooth talker, but I'll plan a whole day for you. You know, I'll plan. I'll look at things that you like, and I'll take note, and I'll make you drink before the podcast with 1 minute or less left.
She did.
But
Yeah, Chibi will make lists for me. I like it.
Yes.
Sometimes. Most of the time. Some of the lists aren't so nice.
Some of the lists cost money because I'm asking you to go to the store.
Yes, those are the very mean lists. I don't like those ones.
Also, I just want to say congratulations to Stiqeno, who hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube recently. So, congratulations. Happy to see your progress.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another video. So Vlhadus is back at doing the 1v1, and the first one is on risk versus reward again. Everybody's talking about player reputation, risk versus reward, and the Caravan PvP stuff. So this is with Ribe. So check it out at your leisure. It's his first one back into it again. So wanted to share that out. And yeah. So now this is a few random topics to discuss. Now that we've probably given you the ick with lovey-dovey stuff. If Z was here, she'd say we gave her the ick.
You now have the ick. Enjoy it.
One of the things that we had on tap to talk about that we didn't end up getting to is, will weather affect river current? Because we were talking about the weather system and the raft and things like that, and how the currents kept going when the raft stopped.
That'd be really neat. Like faster rapids in the spring because the snow is melting, and slower drifting in the winter, or maybe even being frozen over altogether in the winter.
Yeah, so essentially the question here is, I know someone asked earlier about wind affecting sailing. I wanted to take a little further and ask if the weather will affect the intensity of currents in rivers and lakes. I'm assuming that the weather can affect the seas, but whether it can affect rivers and lakes is something that I'm curious about specifically. And Alluring responded to this, saying that oceans and underwater areas won't be affected by seasonal changes. However, things like... And Therian, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers to that.
We appreciate you. Yes, cheers.
That was very nice. Thank you. It's appreciated.
Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day.
There's Umbra. What's going on there, friend?
Always lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, always hanging out in the shadows. Except randomly once in a while. Just peeks in and drops a question and runs away.
But thank you so much, Pantherian. That was really, really sweet of you. So Alluring says oceans and underwater areas won't be affected by seasonal changes. However, things like flooding or water freezing over, etc., like frozen lakes, have been stated. Rivers being affected by freezing or current changes have not been mentioned at this time. But they said that that's a good question to ask on a Q&A live stream thread. See if they'll answer it. And, you know, Nara says wind should only affect the ocean currents, I think. But I think it was affecting the river currents as well. I could see it affecting the river a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the general idea there was probably something along the lines of doesn't think it should affect rivers because the rivers can be more affected by gravity and like actual cold temperatures, but the oceans are a much wider body that could have much, you know, stronger winds out in the open with no trees or anything to block and slow it down.
Okay, sorry, we missed the message from Pantherian. Pantherian says, this is for the cuteness and to never hear of chocolate wings ever again. I'm so glad you're with me. I'm just gonna say that. I'm so glad you're with me.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh my gosh.
You'll hear no more about chocolate wings.
Yes, no more of that.
From us.
No more of that. Me, yeah, I can guarantee that. Me. Cannot say anything about our community because they like to make me blush or like turn red. But no, I think that would be really cool. No, never. I deny it. Veto. Vetoed.
Oh my goodness. I almost died. I tried to drink and inhaled for a laugh at the same time. Just because, yes, the community does like to make you blush because you turn as red as your shirt is right now.
Well, my shirt is purple, thank you.
Well, you turn as purple as your shirt, then.
Ooh, yes, there you go. Go bother Cash with that suggestion.
There you go.
Hey, Valentine, how are you? Welcome back.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of Varen Chef, real quick, side topic here. I just got an ice cream maker. Would you guys like to see some of the stuff that we make and potentially some of our recipes? Because I'm gonna primarily be focusing on like protein ice creams versus like regular ice cream.
It's a ninja.
It's a ninja creamy. It was a housewarming gift. Varen ice cream, I'd love that. I could try to come up with recipes that might be like inspired by the different races. I don't know how well that's gonna go, but I can try.
We're gonna have to see what the fruits and vegetables and such look like in Vera.
Oh.
And what they sound like by description.
Ooh. So Dark Longbow on the forums. Longtime MMO player. Like he says, I'm an old gamer, like paper role-playing games for 30 years and MMOs for over 10 years. Very interested in Ashes of Creation and had a few comments from his own perspective. He's French, so he's the English is not quite there. Ooh, that's interesting. Green fluorescent mushroom ice cream. Interesting.
Interesting is one way of stating that.
I don't know what to think about that. But the title of this one is Node is the Real Hero. So the real hero of your game is not the player, but the server/environment/node. There's nothing sadder than an MMO where my character goes off to save the world, only see all the other players doing the same epic quest. Am I really the savior of the world? Pocket Start, hello. Oh, fresh cut grass.
Oh no, like they turned him into ice cream?
I know, unfortunately. Poor FCG. Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
thanks.
The top 0.00001%. 1 out of 1. Ooh.
Dark Longbow says, I'm often a solo player, and yet the attachment to territory and community are very interesting in your vision. Talking to Intrepid. Spending time and subscription to improve the node should create a very strong sense of involvement. To continue with that idea of belonging, are dedicated servers planned for different languages? Like, this is a question of like, will there be a German server, a Spanish server, a French server, etc.? An excellent way to create communities that are motivated to stay. I feel like there's going to be the unofficial, like this is going to be the unofficial Spanish server, this is going to be the unofficial German server, etc.
Yeah, I know Steven had mentioned that it's going to be dependent on how many people there are in certain areas, like how much demand there is for a server in an area, but it's going to be regional rather than language based. But yeah, people will absolutely make like the unofficial insert language server.
Most important server to have in AOC is the South Korea server. Hi, Vlhadus, welcome in.
Okay.
I think Intrepid wants the player community to decide on unofficial servers in general. I imagine there's also going to be an unofficial roleplay server, to be honest. Yeah, also welcome in. But on the other hand, isn't there a risk of losing the motivation of players who have invested a lot of time in setting up their node and seeing it all disappear? If there's something at stake, okay, but it isn't demotivation a threat? How do you overcome the disarray and get back to into the adventure? So essentially, like, if you have a freehold or something and a node, and the node gets sieged, and there's that disarray of that node being sieged, and your freehold is no longer up, you know, how do you handle that? How do you get back into the adventure after that happens? And that's a really good question. One that I'm interested in seeing how it all plays out, honestly.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it all plays out too. I have a feeling that there's going to be almost like a changing of the guard that occurs very slowly. Like it's going to be people who are really interested in the sound of a lot of systems, and they're going to all join all at once, and it's going to be crazy populated, and people are just going to start to fizzle out as they start to realize that some things aren't for them.
Yeah.
But then it's gonna slowly refresh over time, like as most MMOs do. Like there's gonna be new people coming in from time to time, especially if a game gets known to be an insert word here, or whatever descriptor people use for it. And I mean, Ashes will get that description put out there, and people will start to get that feel for it, and it'll slowly trickle into that type of player that likes that type of combat, and every way the systems are being portrayed in the like YouTube videos and whatnot. And I mean, we'll see where it goes from there. But
yeah,
I have a feeling, there's definitely going to be a changing of the guard, like the first big hype, and then the hype's going to fade. I mean, every game has it. Let's be honest. Every single new MMO has that. There's a big hype at the beginning, and then people realize, actually not this one. But with this one, I think it's going to be more tangible.
There's also like the perspective. First off, Vlhadus says I don't want official RP servers. I wasn't talking about official. I was talking about unofficial specifically. But yeah, I don't think it'd be wise to make official servers segregated that way. I don't know. It just feels less organic, you know. But second, I wanted to say, like, the other thing is, what if you... I recently learned you cannot, as a vassal node, attack your parent node. So, like, if the wrong node gets leveled to Metropolis, you're stuck waiting for somebody else to help you siege it down, and essentially, like, turning your back on your node system, your vassal system, just to help siege it, essentially. Because you, as a vassal, cannot siege the parent node that's a Metropolis node. To try to make your level 5 node the next Metropolis. And I actually didn't realize that, so, you know.
Let's see, but trying to think, Pockets. I know kind of the idea that you're talking about, that some CC mentioned, and can't recall who said it. I mean, we have Vlhadus in here. Maybe it was Vlhadus. Sounds almost like something Vlhadus would say, like Ashes is going to be more of a slow burn MMO rather than a super hype drop off or something along those lines. But yeah, I recall somebody saying something along those lines. I'm just calling you out as maybe you said it. Maybe. I was hoping that would catch your attention. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like something you would have said, something about a slow burn versus, super hype and then drop off. But right. I couldn't recall exactly who said it. So, hey, I got it right.
So Pocket says, that's a nice Metropolis. It'd be a shame if someone attacked it, as I turn my head this way.
Yeah.
But I was thinking in my head as well, and text out because I've watched that guy sometimes. He's a good one to watch. We were just sharing out your 1v1 with Rive.
I've watched that guy sometimes. Maybe a time or three.
Who knows? Yeah,
Vlhadus, I would agree with you, at least to a certain degree. I think there's still going to be the hype and then a drop off, but I think you're kind of right on the slow burn. It's going to end up being instead of a hype and then a swift drop off and then like a steady decline down to a steady number, like that's really low. I think it's going to be a hype jump and then a drop like every new MMO has.
Yeah.
But then it's gonna steady out a lot earlier than many other games. That's my prediction, but we'll see. It's gonna steady out a lot sooner than many other of the new MMOs do.
The proposal that I really wanted to get to, which I think you're gonna be a fan of, Virtek, if you haven't seen this already, is a tavern rumor system So in paper games, we often use double entry tables, a merchant, a prisoner, an aristocrat, etc. Seeks, threatens, or conveys an item, a place, or an NPC to generate an infinite number of side quests. So will something like that be available in Ashes for taverns? Have some sort of rumor mill going around where maybe there's been a rumor, like, so maybe somebody saw this thing, right? Let's go with maybe a scientific node, right? Player went out, saw this thing, reported it back into the library of things that they saw. That then becomes known knowledge for the node, and rumors begin to happen around the tavern with NPCs about said thing that would then alert other players to that thing happening out in the world in an organic manner.
So, one more time just to make sure, because it's harder to fully comprehend everything without having the text to absorb the words in front of my eyeballs.
Which part?
Okay, so...
Because one part was my own, one part was his.
The basic question that you're trying to ask me to respond to directly.
So, his idea was having a tavern rumor system being considered in, right, the whole thing, exactly, being considered in Ashes of Creation. And so the one that I gave was an example fleshed out of that, which is, say somebody goes out, sees something, comes back, reports it, and then it begins being a rumor thing that you see with NPCs, perhaps through text speech bubbles, that alerts a playing character as like a rumor thing. Because that gives a lot of value into like making sure you pay attention to what NPCs are talking about too.
Yeah. I think that right there in itself would probably be a system that would need to be researched out and like developed in hard. Like, yeah, I'm not sure if I like it, just because the game of telephone with actual people is difficult enough, let alone adding AI in there to scramble it up and do weird stuff to it.
I don't know about that necessarily, but yeah, I guess. Like, where on earth is Carmen Sandiego but for AOC?
But for AOC taverns. I don't know. I think it would get really complicated. I mean, as fun as it sounds, that would be really fun, because they had that in Final Fantasy 15. Granted, that was like a static one-player game, right? So they legitimately scripted everything. But there were, when you're walking through town, there would be like rumors, people just talking to each other, and if you paid attention, you could give yourself new quest points to go find something that didn't exist as an actual quest.
Exactly, and so that's kind of my point. And Galwood kind of further solidified this as well. The just NPC speech system that reacts or indicates a mechanic would be interesting, like when a node is about to level. But also, like, if the world is reactive with events, then why can't the NPCs be part of that world being reactive within an event?
Yeah, I think it would just be tough. Yeah,
maybe
it'd be tough to put together a system. Go ahead.
Maybe you don't even need the player to go out to see it firsthand and report it back for them to start talking about it. Maybe when the event occurs, the NPCs start hearing, like, maybe it takes a day or two, but the NPCs start hearing a trickle of information, and that's what leads you to go out to go explore, and then you find the actual event for yourself. Good question, Vlhadus. Vlhadus asks, do you think tavern owners should be able to make their own quest to people to do an AOC?
I think so, yes.
I think that'd be really cool.
And I think it'd be neat as a tavern owner to be able to say, like, post up a little notice board note that says, like, offering 5 silver for every turkey leg you turn in. When, you know, if you go to a store in town, it would cost you 10 silver, but if you were to sell it to a merchant, like out of your hands, it would cost you, it would gain you like 2 silver. You go somewhere in the middle, knowing that you could probably hit the auction house and sell it for somewhere around the same price, but usually higher. Like, 7 or 8 silver instead of like 5. Like that'd end up turning out fun because there's a lot of turkeys around here. I just don't want to have to go hunt them myself. I still need to do all the food around here. I need to clean it. I need to do the farming. I need to do the this and the that. I just want to give you a little bit more than selling to a vendor. You get some turkey legs, and all the turkeys are like right outside the freehold here. Right outside the freehold. Just go get them. It's easy. I just don't have time for easy.
Yeah. Like you might be working, but as soon as you're done working, you might be willing to have paid somebody for their free time to go out and get this thing. So that way when you're getting on, you can make the food or whatever in the tavern. I like it. So first off, a few people liked that idea. Thogli says tavern quests are a must. Reminds me of every tabletop I have played. Exactly. I honestly think so. Gawad says, I love the idea of notice boards on your freehold or player buy orders on a player stall. I love that being optional through like the tavern even. Maybe there's a notice board in the tavern where you can put up a request for thing, kind of like a player stall. Vlhadus says, I would love that. Player created content is king. Just give us the systems to do it. I agree with that. No. I'm not reading what Nera said. Pocket Art says, this is an aspect I loved about Ragnarok Online. A blacksmith or merchant could put up their own shop out of their cart, and with a skill called discount, they could buy from NPC cheaper and resell to other players cheaper than that player could buy for. And I think that's an interesting perspective, honestly. But the thing that maybe we might want to chit-chat about that's happening simultaneously in the chat is Tavern likes the idea of eSports, while Raka does not. Or Ashes of Creation.
Are we going to let him fight to the death?
I don't know, maybe.
I mean, we've got a room we can lock him in. Give him each a knife. We'll make sure it's sharp so it doesn't like not as easily infectious. It's a clean cut.
Gonna make this a poll. Let's see how many of you like or dislike eSports in Ashes.
Ready. Fight.
All right, starting the poll.
We'll wait till after the poll comes back before I say what I was going to say, just to make sure it doesn't influence anybody's statement. It probably won't. I mean, esports is a pretty polarizing issue.
Sure.
So, random stuff probably won't change anybody's mind.
Raka says, I'll sting you to sleep with my lyre and then assassinate you. Valentine says esports only exists within a game that's already huge on popularity. A lot of people watch esports for MMO simply to learn what the best builds and strats are, not because they're fun. And I would argue that those builds and strats are very different than the builds and strats that need to be used in the regular games versus just the esports section. And Bob G, welcome in. Need more context? Esports only for arenas. I don't see a problem if it's just for that. Intrepid asked if they should consider incorporating esports within Ashes of Creation, which is the MMORPG. And while it's not that I don't see a problem with arenas, I think the only way that they would be able to do it is with an arena type setup. Nothing else Ashes of Creation specific would really work for that, in my opinion. Arena won't work, and why not? I want to hear why. You know, I mean, I don't like it in the first place, so I don't like any sort of sports. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I don't do esports. Yeah. I'm here for
PvP
rating.
Esport. Oh Lord, no.
Yes.
Oh Lord. That sounds like a train wreck. I would not watch it out of principle.
An instance Caravan PvP battleground.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just being silly.
I've got some opinions on this. I've got a couple opinions.
I did put it for 10 minutes. That may have been long, but we are 6 votes for no and 2 votes for yes currently.
Yeah, see, I would be okay with esports in certain aspects and certain ways of approaching it, but I think that they need to start it without the intent of it being an esport. I think it needs to start with the intent of just being a game mode, if Intrepid is going to do it specifically.
Yeah.
But for one, as a PvE player, I'm going to be super butthurt if they try to go for esports, and I can't have a single instance dungeon that's supposed to test me as a PvE player.
Right.
Not a term I use very often, but I'll be super butthurt if they do that.
Virtek has a lot of feels when it comes to PvP, PvE, and the balance therein.
Folks are getting like instance PvP areas, instance PvP arenas, potential talk about queuing and whatnot, whereas PvE is like, no man, you gotta fight with PvP people. So I mean, besides that, this is
why WoW Arena has not worked either. AOC is not being balanced on a 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3 level. Balance is being achieved at the 8-person group level. People would be crying about balance if you were to do an arena around those small group balances. And that's fair.
See, you're onto something there, Vlhadus, and check it out. Think of every game that you can imagine or have seen that has succeeded as an esport. What is that game?
I've not seen it like. Sorry, Overwatch is the closest.
Yeah, but that entire game is the esport.
Right. But
so it's not like you can, like with WoW Arenas, you can't pull like a section of WoW out and make it an esport because people are doing other stuff. And hey, thank you for the follow, Salty Chives.
Welcome in.
The
other thing I was gonna say though, even if you look at Overwatch or a lot of these competitive things, they're like 8v8 is far too many people.
I mean, I could see it within certain contexts, but here's the context. Okay. You may not have been there for this, but I actually think it was a good idea. Nara mentioned something about having an esport that is like at its core Ashes content. So it would be PvX. Okay. So it would be a group of 8v8 fighting over boss monsters. And I thought it would be cool if there were like if there was a way. No, you were there for that. Sorry, you were there for that. You weren't there for the after conversation when I dropped off at Nice and no one else. But I thought it'd be neat if you could start off with 2 groups of 8, right? And they each go for a boss monster, and they have to race to get to a boss monster in a separate room where they're both teams will collide with each other. And they have to spread back out and take care of another one, and then can meet back again in the middle. And it would be almost a race for points and whatnot.
Dungeon. Yeah, I could see that.
But they have to fight each other as well as like PvE boss monsters. Something like that would kind of be neat, but it can't start as an esport like that.
I honestly have no idea how they're gonna make this work. I don't know. Yeah, for me personally, not a fan. That's not my interest. But I mean, if you guys want to do it, go for it. I'm not partaking.
But that's honestly kind of even stretching it. But I do like the idea. I don't know if it would work. I don't know if it would work well, but I do like the idea of it.
Jousting tournaments.
What?
Jousting tournaments. Alex suggested jousting tournaments like Game of Thrones.
All right, I'm in. Let's go.
Sounds fun. Yeah. Honestly, if Intrepid was gonna think about esports, this should not be the time. In my opinion, don't think about it until well after the game's out. Honestly, that's like so far, it doesn't really make sense. In my opinion, a game like Ashes, esports is not going to do anything to drive any sort of interest for Ashes because of the type of game that Ashes of Creation is.
Yeah.
It's so unique on every single server, and it's built differently down to each person's class. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like Ashes, exactly. Every single system that they've talked about in Ashes is going to require your full and utter attention.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to PvP, if you're trying to be a competitive PvP player, you're going to need to concentrate on PvP because the crafting is going to be in depth and it's going to require attention and constant care. But PvE, I mean, for crying out loud, like apparently it gets harder when you fight it and you do well, but also you have to fight PvP people, so you have to find PvP friends who are going to be really awesome with PvP and really be brushed up on all their tactics to protect you. And then you have to be good enough to beat it well enough to get increases in rewards and whatnot. So that's all going to be involved.
Well, see,
like, go ahead.
This is also where I do this on a lot of these thoughts, because there's a difference between esports and community curated things. I think there's a lot of things that could be fun that are community curated events. Don't need to be esport event. I don't think. I like the idea that you have. I think it could potentially work, but like a lot of people are saying, WoW has a long history of esports, but what did it do for WoW?
Yeah. Just because it existed doesn't mean it did well.
Exactly. And somebody else brought up a really good point, you know. Here's this circle of like, you know, MMORPGs, right? And here's this tinier circle of where Ashes fits within the bigger circle of MMORPGs.
Yeah, it's basically like the question, like, you know some baseball teams, right? Like, you can name a couple. Did you know there were minor leagues? Can you name any of those teams? When's the last time you saw one of those teams? Only people who really, really love baseball know the names of any of those teams, let alone watched a game.
I agree. Mandy says, I think esports needs to stay in COD, Overwatch, etc., and not be in MMOs, but that's my 2 cents. No, I highly agree with that. I do. I really do. I don't think it fits. I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. No one's watching them on
stream.
I have so much to say about this. But yeah, no one's watching them on Twitch or YouTube, and that's exactly what I was getting at with the baseball thing. Like, you know, like, baseball's so successful, you should totally have a minor leagues. Yeah, well, they have one, and nobody watches it. It exists. Yeah. It's been there's a long history with minor leagues. I think maybe the coaches of
the major leagues watch it to pick out who they're gonna try and hire.
Like there's a long history of minor league baseball, but it doesn't mean it's successful. It just means there's a long history. It hasn't died yet.
But also, Ashes of Creation is a niche within already a niche, so it's a tiny slice of nichery.
Yeah,
shrubbery.
Like it's a stepping stone to the real sport.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, final answer, please no. Please no for we got 3 votes for yes, 7 for no, so a total of 10 people. Like, please no for esports and Ashes of Creation. Trevor can give the community tools pretty easily without much effort. That doesn't mean they need to launch the Ashes National League. Exactly. PvP Arena tourney on Twitch for WoW. There's like 2K people watching. That literally nothing for how much they. Yeah, it's literally nothing for how much they spend on it. Exactly.
And yeah, Bob G, exactly that. Like what you're saying there. Sorry, Chibi, but just to comment on that real quick. Yeah, I'd like to see in-game arena tournaments, regardless of esport or not. Like, I'd be okay seeing that stuff exist, but more of like player-generated stuff. Like trying to push and make it an esport. No, thank you.
Yeah, honestly, the arenas are going to be a thing, and you're going to be able to watch it from the outside without any interruption. They're talking about having a way to kind of sit on the outskirts and be able to like look in at the matches happening, especially I think within the military nodes. But those are going to be cross-server, by the way. So if you haven't checked that out, do definitely look into that.
What's this? Sorry, my
the arena
blinked.
Information on the wiki, because that's what I'm referencing here. Is
there's conversation about that.
Yeah. You can talk about, or you can see that there's like 1v1, 3v3, 5v5s happening, but like not be a part of it necessarily. You could be a bystander and watch it.
Yeah,
I feel like Nice would probably do really well with that. Watching, like, that might be some really good content for him, sitting and watching this and then like commenting on how well people are doing for PvP. I could totally see that being right up Nice's alley.
Yeah, it's another thing that makes me sad. There's so many things in the game are already devoted to PvP. And that's the one thing that they're going to also do cross-server with and nothing else. Like, there's no There's no any kind of cross server or like sharding done even to fit more people into a server so that, you know, friends can play with each other more often. But
yeah,
for PvP they'll make an exception. You can absolutely cross server to fight other people.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with
PvP
that.
tournament, easy peasy, boss run, tournament style. Like, time it, ready, set, go. Do you die? Do you win? Do you lose? How quick can you do it? How many hits do you take from the fire breath? That gets you points.
Galwood also says WoW's first world first race was community made and it was a huge success. And I agree with that. There should be maybe server first, you know? I wouldn't say world first because each world's going to be different. Across, like all of the servers are going to be different across the world, you know? So I would say server first, probably.
Yeah. Hidden Dagger Inn. If you could name an MMO that came out before like 2010, 2015, I would say probably all of them. Piecemeal here and there. But I mean, I played like, yeah, what's that?
I said for Virtek.
Yeah, me, like I played all of them. Like I played Ultima Online, Maple Story, Rose Online, like just name a lot of them. But the ones I haven't played that people are talking about is Lineage 2 or Lineage 1 for that matter, because I didn't hear about either one until it was Lineage 2. And then I heard about it when it was on mobile, and I said, no, I'm not playing a mobile game. Arcade I heard about after it became pay to win, and I didn't want to touch a pay to win game. But yeah, like Ultima Online, like the big ones, I'll put the big ones out there. Ultima Online, WoW, Final Fantasy 14, yeah, Maple Story. I played RuneScape a while back, Ragnarok Online. Korean games before BDO, I played Silk Road. Many others. I played one that's called Risk Your Life. You'll never see it again these days. But back in the day, they were meme lords. Like, they put out an official, like, from the developer, they put out a meme with Paris Hilton saying, I love the Risk Your Life. It's great. And that was from the developer putting out, like, a little banner thing. It was amazing.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's so many games that have changed their names and or died. I mean, there's Shia, for crying out loud. Like, I played some really hardcore games and some really like not hardcore games and some stuff that was very much in the middle.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're interested in mine or not since you tagged just Virtek, but some of the things that the chat has says Maple Story OP, old school RuneScape for the win. Mandy Cakes is asking PSU. Pocket says, you played RO2. But for me, I have played Ragnarok Online before. I was primarily healing in that one and cooking. Most of my MMO experience, aside from a small little divot into something called Fiesta Online, because I wasn't allowed to play World of Warcraft for a time.
Oh gosh, I forgot about Fiesta. Yeah, I played that one too.
Most of my time has been in World of Warcraft, and then we recently, after meeting him, I delved into Final Fantasy 14, and that's because I loved all the other Final Fantasy games. And that's pretty much the sum of my experience. I've not really played too much.
Yeah, and PSU, by the way, Mandy, I'm assuming that was Phantasy Star, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I also played like Wildstar, and in case you didn't hear it, Hidden Dagger. Yeah, I played Ultima Online. That was my first, what I would call a decent MMO. There was another one, Phantasy Star Universe. Okay. I played a game before that, and it was called Zenimus, spelled with an X. It was fun, but it was really dated. Like, really dated. Like, it had like 3 generations old graphics, but it was the first actual MMO I ever played, and it was a full loot drop. You could die in literally 1 second if somebody just dove in and whacked you with the right stick. And there were dark dungeons that you would never find your way out of if you didn't bring light with you. and you would be eaten by monsters, and you would drop everything in a dungeon and spawn up above ground and never find your stuff ever again, no matter what it was.
Yeah, I wish I had had more MMO experience, honestly, coming into this, but I've never really had much hardcore except for Classic WoW at this point. Classic WoW is about as hardcore as I get.
Yeah, I mean, I've also played some flowery, fun stuff too. Like there was a game called Priston Tale that wasn't like super easy, but it was definitely more of a fun game. Me and my dad played that for a while.
Fair, favorite.
I got him into MMOs for a quick minute.
Let's see. We have been live for about an hour and a half. I don't see LoreForged up yet.
Yeah, I was kind of hanging out to see if they came online at all, but this may be one of their not Thursdays or not Wednesday things.
Wednesdays.
Thursday. I want it to be Thursday already. Time needs to fly by.
You're silly.
I'm sorry, the cert class is killing me. It's killing me. My days are getting burned away.
Do you even know how old I am, Narer? Don't go by my look. Thought it was Thursday. It might be Thursday for you. It's not Thursday for us. You can go live, Vlhadus. We'll raid over to you. You're gonna talk all about eSports. Aw, you're sweet. Not a day over 23. I appreciate that. I will take that. But no, actually, I believe, didn't we talk about this recently? Fable, I think, is like being redone and coming out eventually.
Fable, I think there was something that came up about that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I remember seeing something and going, "What? You have to play it if you haven't played the original."
Yeah, it looked really good.
I can't remember any details though, like what was going on with it. If it was just a refresh or if it was an actual new game. But yeah, something about Fable's happening here soon.
Gotta look into that. I know there's that cozy Hobbit game. I'm looking to play that. I like my cozy games. You never did, neither did I. Okay.
Rose Online. I'd have to say it was somewhere in the early 2000s. Because I know I hadn't played WoW yet.
They've already done crafting. Put number all your ages together and be close to, oh my gosh. Hidden Dagger N says, what's the stream for February? Best guesses.
Ooh, best guesses for February.
Yeah.
So yeah, crafting has been at least to a point it's been done. They've showed the basic system and the basic workings and a couple examples. I know
they haven't shown like actual like full crafting. I get that, but they did show a little bit of crafting already compared to stuff that they haven't shown yet. I almost want to say it's going to be a class like fighter or rogue. Because fighter, they haven't had an actual proper showcase of fighter. And I'm really curious what's taken them so long to come out with that. Because they had the fighter. Thinking maybe bard?
I mean, that'd be interesting. People waiting for that, though.
Yeah.
People waiting for that.
But, oh, there's a Vlhadus.
Oh, is Vlhadus coming online?
Yeah, Vlhadus went live.
Hey! Well, that's who we're going to raid over to. He did it! Yeah!
We see...
eSports and Ashes of Creation. Nice, nice.
May have been the pokers of that conversation.
Hey, that works.
Penumbra wants to see Rogue. Favor is hoping for a cooking showcase.
Okay.
Nares thinks Bard is a little too soon. Looked pretty unpolished. Oh my gosh. I didn't know Vlhadus's hair was so curly.
Yeah?
It's so curly. It's always under a cap. I just didn't know. I like it. Don't want my hopes too high. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. I'm pretty good at like being kind of neutral until then. I don't know. There's a lot that I'm hoping. Guild system, etc. I would like to see. Right?
You saw him pull the hat off and it just went... Little poof of curls popped up.
Shall I go ahead and prep up a raid? eSports raid.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right,
Oh.
we'll raid over to Vlhadus.
Do you have any
The last
closing
time was a
thoughts?
surprise. My closing thoughts are: I think you guys are all awesome, and I love seeing what you guys come up with. And Wordio, thank you so much for the follow. And you guys are amazing, and we couldn't do this without you guys. And we hope that you like this more chill vibe. And we'll see you next Wednesday for more of the Tavern Talk.
Like Chibi said, everyone is awesome. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. As always, you've shown some great support just by showing up and hanging out and chatting and contributing to conversation and making fun of us here and there every once in a while. Everybody needs a little bit of poking fun at. As my mom said, if we're not making fun of you, we don't like you. But seriously, you spent your time here. You don't get refunds on time. Once you spent it, it is gone. So we really appreciate you spending it here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We love you all. Hearts and drinks. Cheers to you. And you have yourselves a wonderful day. We'll catch you next time. Bye.